young boys succumb to the venom of the Massasauga.
Rattlesnakes.
Ugh.
Yes, rattlesnakes. In Michigan.
We have them in Michigan?
Welcome one and all. The next few moments is going to be all about the Michigan Massasauga Rattlesnake. Try saying that 5 times fast. Our feeling towards snakes in general, and a look at Mike Fitzgerald, a man who loves and cares for these interesting creatures.
When I think of rattlesnakes, I, cringe. And my hands start sweating. And I can't even see them on TV.
Michigan was covered with Massasaugas back 150 years ago. It was considered a swampy, rattlesnake-infested state. As the settlers came in and cleared the land and drained the swamps, the rattlesnakes went into a decline, so that it got to the point where they were in isolated pockets. Certain swamps had them, some along some of the rivers, and now Michigan has passed laws to protect them, but they're still in slight decline because most people that see these snakes will kill them on sight rather than just let them go.
Dr. Tara Harrison. I'm the veterinarian and curator at Potter Park Zoo. I'm board certified in zoo and wildlife medicine. The eastern Massasauga in Michigan is found more in the wetland type areas. There's some on the western side of the state, some up north in the Alpena area, and then southeastern part of the state are primarily where they're located. They're sort of about 2 feet long and sort of chubby little snakes with brown and black markings. They're very cryptic, so they hide quite a bit, and for the most part you could walk right by them and not even know that they're there. The gravid females or the pregnant females are the ones you may see more often because they'll go out and sun themselves, especially mid to late summer. In general, it's not very toxic, their venom, so you're not going to die from it. It is something that you probably would still need to go to the hospital and maybe get some antivenom, but in general, it's not horribly potent venom. If you were bit, it would probably affect your skin and you'd probably get a sore or an ulcer. And it would probably hurt.
My name is Mike Fitzgerald, and I live in Kalamazoo County. I've been interested in snakes for, probably ever since I was a child. And as I grew older, found that Michigan is native to one species of venomous snakes. The Massasauga rattlesnake is venomous, and though it is not particularly deadly to humans, it is dangerous and can inflict a bite that should be attended to by medical authorities if you are bitten. The Massasauga possesses hemotoxic venom, which attacks blood vessels and the blood cells. It will cause hemorrhage, bleeding out, liquefaction of the tissues, and in a human it would cause large-scale bruising and then sloughing off of skin. The flesh would turn black, and without medical attention, death could occur.
Given that fun list of symptoms Mike said occurs from a bite, it left me thinking, and when I sat down with him and his daughter, I had another question. The one I asked inside, "Are you always careful?" And the one I asked out loud, had he ever been bitten?
I had a clutch of little baby Massasaugas born, and it was time to turn them loose after a couple of days, so I was going to pick them up one by one, drop them in a bag, and take them out to the swamp. And the second one I picked up kind of whipped around and stuck a fang in the finger and changed the whole plans that day. I dropped him back in the tank and put the top back on and told my wife I was going to go run some errands, jumped in the car and went down to the hospital and thought I could just get a shot and go home. And it didn't work that way.
And where is all the anti-venom?
Apparently somebody had been bitten the week before and there was none of that in town, so
Your friend.
somebody, that's how I made the friend, was bitten by a Massasauga in the swamp, and all the antivenom was gone. They'd used it all up on him. Fortunately, there was a doctor there from Arizona who used the method of just incising the discoloration in the finger. went with a scalpel and cut it out, and that minimized the swelling, and it didn't spread very far, so it really wasn't much of a major problem.
Mike was kind enough to share with me several stories involving various rescues, not just of the Massasauga, but other snakes that he's been involved with.
About 4 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings, and it's the Kalamazoo police, and they say we've got an apartment over on the west side, and there's a snake in the apartment. So I go over and go down the hall, and there's a police officer there, and he's got his nightstick and his mace out, and there's a snake going slowly down the hall. So I walk over and pick it up. Most people hate snakes. It seems to be part of human nature. And when they see a snake, they automatically assume that it's venomous because they think all snakes are venomous and it's out to get you. So some of the calls I get are frantic, and I've got a rattlesnake or there's a cobra, and it turns out to be a milk snake or a hognose snake, which to me, any snake call is interesting. The Massasauga are the best. Or sometimes the boa constrictor. There have been some boa constrictor calls which have been just interesting. Going into an apartment where the people were evicted, and the police went in, and they found a 7-foot boa constrictor in the living room. I guess the tenants were getting even with the landlord by leaving it behind. After a while, the gentleman called me and said, well, I left it there by mistake, so I gave it back. 6 months later, the same snake is in a rental car, and it's down in the door, and we have to get that extricated from the door, which took quite a while. Only that time I got to keep it, because the second time the guy wasn't going to get his boa constrictor back.
At this point, I find myself asking the same question I suppose most of the audience is asking. Mike, where does this fascination of snakes come from?
There's no way to explain it. It's inside. When I was in 2nd grade, I saw a book in the library on snakes, and I pulled that book out and read it. So it's something that's always been in there. It wasn't something I got from the outside. It was just a fascination with snakes and other reptiles, the same way that some people are just fascinated by horses or sea life, sharks.
So what, if anything, did we learn from Mike and Dr. Harrison today? I would say we learned that the Massasauga is a friend of our state, one best left alone. We learned that snake people are a sort of people unto themselves. But most importantly, Mike, what's the key thing we should take away from our time today?
It's not a good idea to have venomous snakes in the house.